This morning on the Sunrise Early News, breaking news, a major collision in Brisbane's north. One woman killed, 10 others rushed to hospital. War on the home front, billions promised in an unprecedented election cash splash. Oscar glory, Piastri claims the Bahrain F1, our boy from Melbourne leading from start to finish. And a tourism sugar hit to help Queensland communities struck by Cyclone Alfred. The airfare frenzy helping you travel for cheap.
Live across Australia, this is Sunrise Early News.
Good morning. Straight to our breaking news this Monday. And a woman has died after a major crash in Brisbane's north. 10 others have been taken to hospital after the three-car collision on the Gympie Arterial Road. Police say a Hyundai iMax and Honda Odyssey were stopped at the shoulder of the right lane before 10 o'clock when a Toyota van crashed into them from behind. A woman in the Honda died at the scene. We'll have a live report coming up in Sunrise. A doctor from Sydney's southwest has been charged with multiple sex offences. Police allege the 42-year-old indecently assaulted a 45-year-old man during multiple consultations at a medical centre in Auburn and Narellan, and a 47-year-old man at a medical centre in Auburn earlier this year. The doctor has been charged with aggravated sexual assault and 13 counts of aggravated sexual touching. He's been refused bail and will appear in Liverpool court today. In his 50th career start, Melbourne's Oscar Piastri has driven a flawless race from pole to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. The Aussie ace was in a class of his own, claiming his second win of the season by 15 seconds ahead of Mercedes' George Russell and McLaren teammate Lando Norris.
It's been a great weekend and, very proud of what I've done this weekend as well. So I'm sure there's going to be a hell of a party. I'm not going to get involved because I've got a race again next week.
The victory puts Piastri 3 points behind Norris in the championship. World leaders have condemned a major Russian missile strike in Ukraine, which has killed at least 34 people and injured more than 100. Let's go live to Europe correspondent Jacqueline Robson. Jacqueline, the attack killed civilians heading to church for Palm Sunday.
Eddie, we know that these two ballistic missiles fell over Sumi just after 10 o'clock local time. One hit a university, the other essentially exploded in the street as people were walking to church and driving their cars. Among the 34 dead is 2 children, and of the 117 injured, 15 are kids, including a newborn. Now, this town is less than 50 kilometres from the Russian border. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said only filthy scum acts like this. World leaders have expressed outrage, but possibly most significant is the reaction of Donald Trump's envoy to Ukraine. General Keith Kellogg says this crosses any line of decency. As a former military leader, this is wrong. And of course, it comes 2 days after the US sent envoy Steve Witkoff to Moscow to meet with Vladimir Putin. It was to discuss a ceasefire. Donald Trump was optimistic they could reach one, but it seems the Russian president is in no rush to end this war. Eddie.
Thank you, Jacqueline. A gunman is on the run this morning after a drive-by shooting in Melbourne CBD. Innocent bystanders were sent running for their lives when the gunman and his accomplices, driving a black Ford Territory, fired a single bullet at their victim on Sunday morning. A 20-year-old man who's known to police was shot in the arm but is refusing to give information about his attackers. He's in a stable condition this morning at the Royal Melbourne Hospital. Troubled AFL star Noah Balta has played his first game back since his brutal assault. His return has sparked much controversy, with some saying his 6-game ban wasn't enough.
Until such time as the courts have really dealt with it, he probably shouldn't be playing footy.
The 25-year-old is still waiting for the courts to deal out his punishment, facing a maximum 5 years jail time. There was chaos on the roads in Sydney's west overnight. 2 cars collided at Rydalmere around 11 o'clock before then crashing into 2 parked cars. A 20-year-old man has been taken to Westmead Hospital, where he remains in a stable condition this morning. Police are now looking into exactly what caused the 2 cars to collide in the first place. Well, it's now just 20 days until the federal election, and Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton have officially launched their campaigns. The Prime Minister and Liberal leader spruiking major tax and housing announcements, but economists have criticised both for not offering real solutions.
duelling launches for the right to lead Australia's next first family of politics. Peter Dutton joined by Prime Ministers past, John Howard, Tony Abbott and Scott Morrison. No sign of Malcolm Turnbull. Anthony Albanese, just Julia Gillard, no Paul Keating this time, Kevin Rudd in Washington. Taking opposite approaches from opposite sides of the country. In Perth, the case for continuity.
Lady Legend! Well, thank you to whoever just yelled out.
In Western Sydney, change.
Are you ready to get our country back on track?
But fighting on common ground, tax and first home buyers.
No competition from property investors, just a fair crack for young Australians.
When Australians have heard me say that I want to be the Prime Minister for home ownership, for home affordability, for home accessibility, I mean it.
Labor's $10 billion housing plan, 100,000 new properties reserved for first home buyers and 5% deposits on any first home, with 15% government loan guarantees, saving $23,000 in mortgage insurance. The Coalition, tax-deductible mortgage repayments on newly built first homes for 5 years, covering the first $650,000 of a loan, saving up to $11,000 a year, a total of $55,000 over 5. Reckless, say economists, both likely to send house prices higher.
Same stuff. Both sides have got a dumpster fire of dumb for us today.
Dutton wants to make house prices skyrocket with his dangerous debt trap plan. Labor just wants to tinker around the edges.
And on tax, taking different tax. Labor, a $1,000 instant tax deduction for work-related expenses, no receipts needed, benefiting 6 million, mostly low and middle income and young workers. The Coalition, a one-off tax rebate of $1,200 in July next year for those earning between $48,000 and $104,000, reducing and phasing out at $144,000, costing $10 billion.
Helping people under pressure, all the while building for the future.
Families are under financial pressure now, and we've heard their cry for help.
Anthony Albanese is trying to become the first Prime Minister in 21 years to be re-elected. Peter Dutton to be the 8th different Prime Minister in the past 8 elections, both of them throwing a lot of money at it. Mr Dutton's tax offset and petrol tax halving, a 1 year $16 billion splurge. Mr Albanese's instant tax deduction and housing plan, $12.4 billion. Cash splashes aimed at mortgage belt voters on the urban fringes and regions.
No one cut off from the opportunities that lie ahead. No one held back and no one left behind.
So I want to ask you today, do you feel better off after 3 years of Anthony Albanese?
No! Each hoping the next time they hear this will be the sound of victory.
Mark Riley there for us. An end of a holiday after all that. Qantas has you covered, slashing ticket prices to Queensland. Fares have dipped to as low as $99 for flights from the Gold Coast to Sydney. Sydney to Toowoomba for $129. From Melbourne, you can reach the Gold Coast for just $119. Cheap fares extend to more than 30 routes across Queensland. And the sale is in partnership with Tourism and Events Queensland, helping communities bounce back after Cyclone Alfred. Well, we can proudly announce Channel 7 is the official broadcast partner of next year's Glasgow Commonwealth Games. Glasgow 2026 will feature a 10-sport program with around 3,000 athletes from 74 Commonwealth nations. Aussie teenage sensation Gaut is expected to be there after winning his first senior national title yesterday with a 200-metre sprint in just 19.84 seconds. You can watch the games right here on 7 and 7 Plus, of course, from the 23rd of July next year. Can't wait. Checking Monday's weather for you now. A shower or two in Brisbane in 27. A possible late shower in Sydney in 27. Mostly sunny in Canberra in 27. Possible shower in Melbourne, 23 there. An early shower or two in Hobart in 16. Mostly sunny in Adelaide in 33. A possible early storm and showers in Perth in 25. And a shower or two and a possible storm in Darwin, 33 degrees. Well, coming up on Sunrise Early News this morning, another Trump tariff twist as our big banks brace for what's next. And Katy Perry prepares for liftoff when the pop star will actually be among the stars. That's next.